In just over 4 years at the helm of the local agriculture sector, Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa has overseen the launch of two new high-yielding varieties of rice. The two varieties since are the biofortified variety GRDB Ika 17 from last year, and this past week the GRDB 18, all products of the Guyana Rice Research Station at Burma, an arm of the Guyana Rice Development Board, GRDB. The latest variety was launched this past week at the field of rice farmer A. Sebastian at Newton Zewell on the east coast of Demerara, on a plot of just over 4 acres. In delivering the featured address at the launch this past week, Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa said this latest variety is testament to the commitment of the Ministry of Agriculture and the research and development team at the GRDB's research station.
And within 4 years, or less than 4 years, we are commissioning 2 new varieties of rice in this country. That's a tremendous achievement for us. And that augurs well for us in the future, that the rice industry is moving and moving rapidly. So the launch of this new high-yielding rice variety, GRDB 18, and when this one here was launched, the GRDB 16, I remember that we launched it in the Rice Research Station at Burma when this was launched. This was a better variety than the varieties before, the 10, the 15, and what you call it. Because at that time, we were told that it can withstand the harvesting time. Now, here we are seeing and we are looking at this, and it's due about 2 weeks, 14 days, and we already see it falling down. And again, we are now comparing it with another variety that we have developed. And that variety is also due. For the last 2 weeks, 13 days, according to the scientists, 13 days it should have been reaped already. But it showed its potency. It showed its durability in terms of this one here. So the point I want to make is that this highlights our theme for this year's Agriculture Month. And what is the theme? You all know the theme for this year Agriculture Month? The themes that we are trying to do is to ensure that we modernize the sector. We move it from make it less labor intensive, bring in more research and development, ensuring that what we are doing, we be the leader of the entire region.
The new variety is one that, in addition to being high-yielding, is also very tolerant to waterlogging, which is crucial for maintaining high quality at harvest. While other varieties may prove problematic if not harvested within the harvest time, this variety is still in good shape for up to 14 days after the recommended harvest time. The Agriculture Minister noted that this new variety comes even as the local rice industry is on the cusp of breaking production records across the board. More than 700,000 tons of rice expected at the end of this crop.
That is why we are not saying that this sector, although it's a private sector, and it's not a private business for us. It's government's business, it's the people's business. You heard just now Comrade Ramraj talk about the investment in the rice industry, the investment in the agriculture sector, the investment in the D&I sector. And that shows government's commitment towards the agriculture sector. And today, Guyana is being seen as a country to develop food security in the future. What we are doing now for the first time in the history of CARICOM Guyana is not only leading the sector, but we are also producing, or we are having more production in various areas. Rice is only one subsector of the agriculture sector. But when you look at the total agriculture sector, you're seeing now massive development taking place in this sector. So we heard the target for this year, and we have seen rice production from 2020 increase tremendously. And you as rice farmers, you are the stakeholders in the industry, you would have recognized, because I was just talking to the president, the chairman of RPA, and he was telling me prior to 2020 August, we used to get an average, or reap an average around 36 bags. And that was the high end, right? The high end. 36 bags per acre. Today, the average is around between 40 to 42 bags per acre. That shows that we are increasing, and when you look at some other holdings around the country, other farmers' holdings, who are doing best practices and who are have high increase in production, some of them are reaping almost 52 bags per acre. But when you look at the average, we have seen tremendous improvement and increase in production. We have moved production from 5.9 tons per hectares to between 6.6 to 6.7 tons per hectares. I am hoping by the first crop of next year, we can move that to 6.9 tons per hectares. I am challenging the Rice Research Station that we must work towards this. The government's the policy is that by 2030, we must be a large producer of rice. We have moved production tremendously for the first time. For the first time in the history of this country, we'll see rice production surpass the 700,000 ton mark for the first time since we start cultivation of rice in this country. And that's an achievement for you. And that didn't come about because we having bountiful weather and crops, but that came about because of the commitment of the government and the investment we have been making into the rice industry. 2 consecutive years, we have tried to assist farmers with fertilizer. We heard about the issue with the paddy bugs, and we try put mechanism in place to contain the bugs. Now we are having the harvesting period, and I'm not hearing the kind of complaint that we had prior to the meeting that we had at Albion that the comrade referred to. At that meeting, I instructed that we gave the chemical and we also employ the labor. In Essecubo, we built these Jackalow sprayer, 5 Jackalow sprayer to the farmers and give them so that they can use it on the Essecubo coast. I am looking in next year's budget that we can build some more of those and give to farmers across this country. We have seen how many farmers we have assisted with seed paddy to go back to the land. A number of farmers would have benefited leaving out what we have been selling to farmers or the programs that we have. But there are a number of farmers I know for a fact that all the requests normally comes and we approve it so that farmers can have these assistance.
Minister Mustafa pledged the government's continued support for the rice sector, support that comes not only in the form of investments in infrastructure for improved drainage and irrigation, but also direct support to farmers at the individual level. Chairman of the Board of Directors of the GRDB, Mr. Madanlal Ramraj said the launch of the new high-yielding rice variety is testimony to the hard work of the research team.
When the minister met with the board and gave us the policy directive a few years back, one of the areas for us to concentrate on, among several areas, is to look at varietal development. If we as a board and farmers and for the economy, if we are to move rice production and if we are to enhance the livelihood of farmers in our country, one of the areas has to be varietal development. And today we have seen the kind of intervention, the kind of success story because of the allocation, the money that has been allowed for GRDB and all the agencies who are being successful right now. You are seeing the kind of directions and the successes which we have been achieving. And there are many, many successes. As I said, this is today is one, and we are very happy and pleased to be part of today's activity just because it will move the kind of yields that we are looking towards and to enhance our industry. But there are others. There's other in terms of technology because we are aware of the shortages in the industry. We have seen the amount of drones. We have seen the amount of new tractor designed to fertilize field, to look at seed paddy, and more other things. And so we are moving, for me and for the industry, and I know from the government level, I think we are moving in the correct direction. I like to openly thank the seed breeder, that's Dr. Mahendra. Having said so, there are other aspects of our resource stations that we need better from, and that is for the support service. Things like entomology, pathology, especially when we look at the paddy bog destruction and things like that. So we'll definitely need that. Recognize that this rice industry is a huge industry. And let me just share some figures for you. This is a $100 billion industry. $100 billion industry. And let me explain. Last year, as a matter of fact, over $42 billion of seed paddy was sold to the mill. Over $42 billion of seed paddy was sold to the mill. Export, meaning now the millers exporting to Europe and all of the destinations, amounts to $42 billion Guyana dollars. $42 billion. $44 billion. So this is about 80-something billion dollars. Local sales takes care of another few billion dollars. Through the minister intervention, DNI, another set of $1 billion passed through the industry. And what about machinery spares, new machine, and etc., etc. So you see, this is a $100 billion industry. And so we are very proud today that we are part of the activities. And I'm also happy as being the chairman and giving the directive from the minister, we are able to be successful.
Seed paddy for the new GRDB 18 will now be commercially available for the start of the first crop of 2025.